sort of event that you can get invited to. As said, my name is Gabriele Schleijpen. I'm the director of DAI, Dutch Art Institute. I am, I think, representing here the formal art educational institution. We do give out degrees, we are fully accredited, and we have to ask for tuition fees, and we are fully state funded. I really had to resist the temptation yesterday evening to completely rewrite my presentation because there was so much in there that connected to things that we are working on and researching. But I drank too much wine and then I decided, no, I'm going to sleep. So I'm going to do the presentation that I prepared. But I want to say that the two presentations really made me realize once again how my own background in education, the legacy of the Bauhaus in Dutch art education, which is very strong, I have to say, and not always in the way it was intended, I came to realize yesterday once again, but also my own artist-led, quite male-dominated and market-oriented training as an artist. Both positions have really fueled my passionate commitment to think art education otherwise within the context of the university. So only 15 minutes, and there is so much I would like you to tell, so I really have to rush through a very fragmented collage of the DAI's being in the world as roaming academy. So just a bit of context. I'm not going to give much practicalities. Maybe we have time for that later in the workshop. DAI's 2-year curriculum brings emerging curators and artists and hybrids, I would say, together in projects that are curated and tutored by institutions, Casco, If I Can't Dance, I Don't Want to Be Part of Your Revolution, the online magazine Open, the showroom in London, the Van Abbe Museum. They are long-standing partners who work as tutors in our program. But next to that, we also work with independent artists, curators and writers. And I would like to mention Ruth Nowak, Marina Vishmit and Bassam El-Baroni, who have been quite important the past years and will continue to be that in the near future. And I would also like to mention, especially in the light of yesterday's presentation, I have to say, Grant Watson and also Doreen Mende. And then finally, I would like to mention Ruan Grupa, present here, who have been working in the city of Arnhem for the past year and who have been very inspirational for us and for our thinking, our curriculum in the future. So, also important to say that DAI, apart from being a roaming academy, is offering many more things, but the emphasis here being on the Global Academy. Just to enlighten you on that, since 2003, our friendly affiliations with like-minded institutions have brought students and tutors to Addis Ababa, Bandung, Dakar, Damascus, Diyarbakir, Jakarta, Khartoum, Mexico City, Siberia, Sao Paulo, Tehran, New York, many more places all over the world. What we do in the regular curriculum, 10 times per year, all our students and tutors who do not live in Arnhem, they all plug into the so-called DAI Week, which is a temporary art commune, a theory camp, a think tank, experimental learning environment in Arnhem, or as said, as roaming academy elsewhere in the world. Conviviality is at the heart of the program because we feel infrastructures can be artworks too. So we ask, how can we develop a plausible concept of artistic intervention under the current state of affairs? So we are a fleeting community of students, alumni, core tutors, and many, many guest tutors who all share a yearning for other-directed ethics and progressive politics. Our feminist and decolonial orientation allows for a variety of artistic and theoretical positions, from communist engagement with the rural to left accelerationism's embrace of technology. So, to go through this presentation in a collage way, as I said, we are going to tap into these very simple notions, the home, and then the question is, what is home for an institution like DAI? Is it our overriding provincial university, which has its headquarters in Arnhem, the university that tries to control and manage us on behalf of our main funding body, the Dutch state? I think we rather function as a largely self-organized para-institution, and we are not a cog in the machine of the overriding university. For very long, we have been trying to operate under their radar, even. So even big art institutes and formal art institutes have non-control spaces of liberty. Passion breaks through controls. Oh, I'm going back, sorry. So these are some of the places where we teach in the Netherlands. Some of you will recognize Casco's space. Our partners also offer us places. We sometimes have makeshift classrooms here in the Sonsbeek Park, where Ruan Grupa was taking the lead. And we could say that we propose a policy of unbelonging. Our students and tutors are in search of effective and affective communities, and now I'm quoting Leela Gandhi, outside or even against possessive communities of belonging. So, the river, few know what is the river in my village and where it goes to and where it comes from. And for that, because it belongs to fewer people, my village's river is freer and bigger. This is the river Nether-Rhine in Arnhem. And it's important to say that our home base is in Arnhem, but the house is not set in stone. And like our curriculum, which is porous, we really feel ourselves to be a fleeting community. And maybe rather we operate from a spaceship. And our spaceship tends to land, and we have a tendency, not only in many places in the world, but especially in the Netherlands, to land in the so-called periphery, which exists even in the Netherlands. We are East Netherlands, and like many art schools all over the world, art schools in provincial and rural areas are really suffering because everybody wants to live in the cities. So that's also one of the reasons to think of other ways about location. So we are quite conscious about searching for landing fields outside of the hipster ghettos in art's comfort zones. In this spaceship, we bring practitioners from all over the world together in one space, and we ask for a certain readiness for self-estrangement. In the spaceship, we reject the private studio space as a pedagogical tool, since we aim to promote new perspectives on collaboration and exchange, production and distribution. So, publishing as a critical art practice cultivates publicness and allows for forms of dissemination that challenge the constraints of time and space. And publishing can be understood as a tool of self-education that can be used in the development of communities. So far we have published around 100 small books in limited editions, and the books enter circulation distributed by hand through local channels and via collaborating institutions. And then another quote, but yet the body is his book, and although we are very interested in online teaching and we follow closely some of the initiatives that were also presented yesterday who work with the digital, we still feel that the body is extremely important. No matter how much we near ourselves to the cloud, to neural networks, we still have to operate these systems at some level from our body. So here you see our student Coco dancing with members of the theater group Uains in Sao Paulo, and the members of the group are psychiatric patients, therapists, professional actors, and philosophers. And this whole use of the body, the dancing, the living, the roaming, the learning, working, eating together, sleeping together. Students sleep together for a full week, 10 times per year, is really a very important part of the school. So also the student-led cinema, the nightly karaoke sessions, the yoga classes, campsite workouts, as you see here, are all integral constituents of the curriculum. So wherever the spaceship lands, we are dedicated to create spaces for performances, spaces to allow energy and matter, bodies and their minds to flow freely and in exchange with other bodies and minds. So the voice is a creature of transition and equally important in our curriculum. As Edouard Glissant said, orality is inseparable from the body in movement. And telling, listening to each other, connecting, the parallel consciousness of self and surroundings is the key to transforming mentalities. And then the world. This is Indonesia, by the way. Gayatri Spivak asks, are we ready to give up the wealth of the world's languages in the name of global communication? Even a good globalization requires the uniformity which the diversity of mother tongues must challenge. And Spivak then says, the Tower of Babel is our refuge. So what does it mean to be part of a global art world? Can we counter the current politics of globalization? Can we contribute to the formation of effective and affective art and research communities across borders? How to ground the global campus in an ethico-political practice? And where should the global campus be located? So, yesterday you have been introduced to this fantastic place that has been really inspirational for those of you who were not there. This is Shantiniketan, Tagore's place, founded school, international school, founded in 1901. For Guy, this has been a very important source of inspiration. We even dedicated a project to it in partnership with other organizations, and Grant Watson, whom you can see here, played a very important role in that, and that was actually a moment for us to really reconsider all the thoughts about globalization, the local and the global. And I'm going to read you one quote from a student who has just graduated from our school. He is a First Nation Canadian young man, and he wrote in his thesis, in order to dismantle hegemonic systems of knowledge and economic production, it is necessary to begin with a philosophical base that has the capacity to embody care and accountability into it. Through continuing to preserve colonial vestiges of canonical knowledge, rather than understanding what it means in the statement, all matter is animate, the human animal never moves out of the human and into the post-human. In order to understand our role in these diffractions, we will require more than what is provided by Occidental systems. This Sebastian wrote in his master thesis, Natura Interrupta, Beyond Nation State and the Island of Biogia. And some of the thinkers I've put here, Edouard Glissant, Gayatri Spivak, Stefano Harney and Fred Moten at a much younger age, Lila Gandhi and Achille Mbembe, I think provide us with theoretical frameworks that allow us to think further about what a global academy could be. And maybe it's even important to skip the word global and take the invitation that Gayatri Spivak once again gives. She proposes the planet to override the globe. And she proposes the word planetarity as a much more perceptive way of understanding the materiality of the world and our place and responsibility as humans within it. What you see here is a beautiful classroom, makeshift classroom made by people in a village in Indonesia where we were, thanks to Ruan Grupa, and where we had classes for some time. learning a lot from ways of working that are completely based and rooted in local conditions, but are very open to the conversation with all these strangers coming in. This was just a small glimpse. Life is too short. There is much more to tell you, but I thank you for this.